Today we're continuing right along to Module 4, Lesson 6. And this week we're going to do Lesson 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then on Friday you'll have a weekly check-in, but it's going to cover last week's and this week's. Does that make sense? So it'll be kind of like a 2-weekly check-in kind of thing. Okay? So it'll be from Lesson 4.1 all the way to 4.9 for this Friday. Okay? But don't worry, you guys are doing great, and you will continue to do great this week. Okay? Today we're doing Module 4, Lesson 6, and your learning goal says I can use pictures to find a fraction of a whole number. A fraction of a whole number. What does that mean? Let me give you an example. Hey, Akshay, can you give me any fraction? Okay, 1/2. Do you guys agree that that's a fraction? Okay. Of a whole number. Andrew, can you give me a whole number?
1.
Okay. Is 1 a whole number? Yeah. So 1/2 of 1, if you can tell me what 1/2 of 1 is, that's finding a fraction of a whole number. Arif, give me another fraction, a different fraction.
5/7.
5/7. Is that a fraction?
Yeah.
Of? Emily, can you give me any other whole number?
3.
Of 3. So if we can find 5/7 of 3, that's also a fraction of a whole number. That's what that means. Does that make sense? Good. Let's first talk about the problem. So as promised, today we're finding a fraction of a whole number. So 1/3 is the fraction, 6 is the whole number. So we're trying to figure out how many would be in 1/3 of 6. Remember that today we're using pictures to find that. So we started by drawing 6 circles. Okay. Does it have to be circles?
No.
Could my picture be hearts? Could it be triangles? Could it be squares? Yeah? Okay, so basically I'm drawing 6 items. Okay, so let's change it to squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I've split it now into 3 equal groups. Do you guys agree that this is one group, this is a second group, and this is a third group? Right, so these black lines split my 6 pictures into 3 equal groups. Yes? Go ahead and draw 2 lines that would split your drawings into 3 equal groups. Be careful. How many items did you draw? How many items do we want to draw to begin with? 6. Now I purposely drew 3 across like that because I knew that way I can split it into 3 groups. Do you see that? If I drew them into 4 across, that'd be hard to split into 3 groups, right? But I know I want to split it into 3 groups because my denominator is 3. So how many are in 1/3? Do you guys agree that would be 1/3 of 6?
Yeah.
How many items are in 1/3 of 6? 2. Okay. How many items are in 2/3 of 6? 4. And how many items are in 3/3 of 6? 6. So 1/3 of 6 is what number? 2. And 2/3 of 6 is what number? How many are in 2/3 of 6? 4. So drawing the picture helps us see how many items would be in 1/3. And if 1/3 has 2, then 2/3 will have 4. Do you see that? Very good. This time we have a different fraction, 1/4, and a different whole number of 12. Okay? So we're going to draw a picture. Now, how many items do we have to start out with? How many items? 12. And I want to draw them. I know my units are going to be fourths. I know I'm going to have to divide it into 4 equal groups. So to make that easy for me, I'm going to draw them in rows of 4. So in 4 columns, I should say. So there's 4. And then I'm going to start again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The reason why I drew 4 columns is because I know I had to split it into how many equal groups? 4, because my denominator tells me my units, and my denominator is 4, so I'm going to want it to be in 4 equal groups. So now, if I draw those lines, do you see how now I have 4 equal groups? Yeah. Very good. How many groups of those groups are we trying to find? 1. Because my numerator is telling me I'm trying to find 1/4. So this is 1/4. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So how many are in 1/4? 3. So 1/4 of 12 is equal to 3. Now let me ask you a question. How does knowing that 1/4 of 12 is 3, how is that going to help you find how many are in 3/4 of 12? Go ahead and talk to your table groups. Do you guys agree that this is 1/4 of 12? Yeah? Is this another 4th of 12? Is this another 4th of 12? Okay, so this is the same as 3/4 the same as 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4? So each of those fourths is 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is the same thing as 3 times 3, right? which is, how many are in 3/4 of 12 then? 9. Very good. So knowing how much is in 1/4 can help us find how much is in 3/4. How many would be in 4/4 of 12?
12.
12, because it's all 12, right? Very good. So here again, we can see how drawing a picture helps us find a fraction of the whole number. In this case, in order to find out how many apples her students will get, we need to find what 3/4 of 8 is. Well, we can do that by drawing a picture. How many apples do we have altogether? 8, right? And our denominator tells us our units are going to be what? 4ths. So we have to split, we want to draw the 8s into how many different columns? 4. Okay, so here's apple number 1, 2, 3, 4. Drawing it in 4 columns like that is going to help me divide it into 4 equal groups later. Let me demonstrate what I mean. If I just went like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I have 8 apples drawn on the screen there? Can I easily divide them? No. Okay, so that's why I want to make sure I don't draw it like that. I want to make sure I draw 4 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because now I can easily split it into 4 groups. Do you see that? Okay, now how many are in 1/4? 2. But how many fourths am I trying to find? So I have 2, 3/4. Do you guys agree that that's how many would be in 3/4? So how many apples do the students get?
6 apples.
Yeah, they're going to share 6 apples. We don't know how many students are getting them, but we can see from our drawing that 3/4 of 8 is 6. One fabulous fail people will make is they'll divide it the wrong way, like this, instead of up and down, right? They'll find 1/4 instead of 1/6. Another super easy mistake that people will make, is that they might, instead of finding 5/6, they might tell me the answer for how many sixths? 1/6. Good. What's another super easy mistake people might make? They might forget the label, especially if it's a word problem context. You need to go back and read the problem again to make sure if you've answered the question, okay?